Did you know that marijuana can affect memory, therefore it messes up schoolwork?
I did know that. In fact, marijuana can have a lot of adverse effects on the brain, particularly people your age. Your brains are still growing, and so marijuana can do quite a bit of damage to growing brains, which can affect you much later on in life.
Also, out of everyone who smokes marijuana, 60% are less likely to graduate college or high school.
I don't doubt that because I have personally seen that. I went to school with kids in high school who went to college and got into marijuana, and they didn't finish college, and they were, I would say honestly, brighter or smarter, if that's the right word to use, at least on paper, than I was. And so I think it's a bad rut to get into and one that people shouldn't get into.
And for our last question, in your opinion, do you think marijuana should be legal in Colorado?
I voted personally. Amendment 64 was the election whether or not to make it legal or make it legal. I voted against Amendment 64 because I didn't think that the state or society is ready for legal marijuana. I think it was a Pandora's box that we've now opened, and now we're realizing the effects it can have. Not just Turner Middle School, but schools across Colorado are seeing increases in discipline issues because of marijuana. And it is what it is. I get the reasons for wanting to legalize it. It should be somebody's choice if you're 21, but alcohol is also for kids 21 and older, or for people 21 and older, and kids still drink alcohol too, which they shouldn't. So I don't think it should be legal for anyone personally, but that's just my humble opinion.
Thank you for your time.
Anytime, guys.
Why do you think marijuana is legal in Colorado and not many other states in the U.S.?
Well, to be honest with you, Colorado voted on it. And when they voted on it, they didn't have all the right information or all the information out there. They've now gotten different information. What they saw was a lot of tax base and whatnot. So Colorado did it because they realize with marijuana you cannot overdose. So that's a better alternative. That's what your pro-activists are saying. You can't overdose. It does hold some medicinal values, such as people with cancer can do it. So it helps them eat and takes care of them a little bit. But the reason Colorado is one of the lead states in it is because of the government that is in place in Colorado believed in it. They voted on it. The people voted on it. They said yes to it. So therefore, Colorado put it on the ballot and made it happen to where now it is partially legal, depending on your medicinal side of it and your recreational side of it. It still has your 21 age of being able to possess it, unless if you have your medical card. But Colorado does it. Mostly they did it for the tax money out of it, and that's what they were looking at. Unfortunately, they were looking at money and not the effects of how it's going to affect a lot of people.
Do you know if it's true that marijuana is the most used illegal drug?
Well, I'd say it's definitely true that it's the most used illegal drug, because it is legal unto the effect of medical and recreational for over 21, or medical if you're under the age of 21. But in the law enforcement side of it, in my 18 years of doing this job, every one of us officers, every time we deal with somebody, we know that they have weed on them. It's a very common thing. Oh, there's so many people that have marijuana now, and they usually can't have it legally. So it would be the most common. That's why it's also the old saying that, we put people in jail for marijuana. That's not true. The only way you're actually being physically charged too much, because just a possession is only a petty ounce or petty offense, which we cannot book somebody to jail for. The ones that are in jail that have the marijuana convictions are the ones that are selling pounds and selling it to kids and doing the illegal sellings. That's where the crime comes from, not from just that little baggie like that.
And for our final question to wrap it up, in your opinion, do you think marijuana should be legal in Colorado?
Recreationally, no. Medically, for true medical, yes. And the reason I say that is people with cancers, it does help them have an appetite when it helps them when they are having radiation. That's a proven fact. And I've experienced that firsthand with people in my family that were dying of cancer. So medically, I would say yes, I'm fine with it on that aspect. Not for somebody who says they have a hurt toe or, their wrist hurts or their back hurts. Well, that's life. But for if somebody does have serious medical conditions, cerebral palsy, something in that order, multiple sclerosis, or cancers, then yes. But for recreational, no, I don't believe that it should be legal.
By Stryde and Nick.